Blog Talk Radio.
Warning, the following program may include profane language, controversial viewpoints, and perspectives on the true nature of reality so far removed from the status quo, they'll make your head spin like a top. Young children, corporate executives, and religious fundamentalists should turn away now.
Planet Earth, welcome to Extraordinary Year, the show about 2012 for everyday people like you. I'm Tim Bravo. I want to thank you for joining us tonight, T-minus 141 days until December 21st, 2012. My co-hosts David and Matt are with me tonight to take a look at where things stand in regard to the 2012 changes. You'll find links to everything we're talking about tonight on the Facebook page. It's facebook.com/extraordinaryyear. Oop, I just lost my guys. Anyway, while you're over at the page, go check it out. You're going to find everything we're going to talk about. And while you're there, you might as well like it. Just go like the page and join the conversation there. Talk with us, because there's kind of a growing community. People are talking. People are getting to know where everybody stands. And it's just kind of been a very nice little growing microcosm of the macrocosm awakening. So come join us. Speaking of joining the conversation, I think I have David and Matt back. You guys there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, I got David. Okay, cool.
Yep. I'm here with Catherine and Ali, and Matt will be signing in a little bit. He had to go help his father with something.
Hey, Ali. Hey, Catherine.
Hi, Tim.
Speaking of you guys joining the conversation, we're going to start a new segment tonight called Sound Off. That's where we're going to invite people out there listening, and I see you guys are out there. We're going to invite you guys to call in and give us your 2 cents on what's going on in the world. The number's 858-956-2147, and you'll find that at the top of the episode page. That's going to be a little later. It's called Sound Off, and it's not just going to be that we're going to take callers. We're going to take up to 3 callers at a time and let people just have a discussion for about 5-10 minutes. Sounds cool?
Yep. Sorry, it sounds good. I'm having technical difficulties working between the phone and the computer.
So, what's up, guys? What have you guys been up to? It's been a while since we've had one of these Where Things Stand episodes. How much of the 2012 stuff are you picking up in day-to-day life? Because I know you guys are all pretty busy.
Well, I just sighted in my red dot the other day, and no, I'm just kidding. I really did, but
yeah, I know you did.
Ali had
for listeners out there who don't know, David's talking about his laser gun sight that he got for killing the apocalypse zombies.
Tomato. Well, Ali actually was near the area of the Chick-fil-A today and got off on the topic of the whole gay rights Chick-fil-A movement going on, not just in Wichita, but around the United States, apparently.
Yeah. Mike Huckabee, who was a former candidate for the Republican Party to run for president back in 2008, I think it was. Anyway, that dude declared it Chick-fil-A, what is the word that I'm thinking of? It wasn't support day, but it was something along those lines. And so everybody who is also against gay marriages, because of what the corporate people said in Chick-fil-A about a month ago that they don't support gay marriages, everybody in every city decided today to go to a Chick-fil-A and give them their money and support them. And here in Wichita, it's from 13th to Central, and you know how far that is in terms of distance. It took 15 minutes to travel down 2 miles.
Holy cow! But that's the brand new one. On top of everything else, that's the brand new one. Is that is that open now? I guess.
Yeah, it's open. It's actually it was actually the second largest opening for a Chick-fil-A in North America.
The one out east, not west.
Yeah, the one out east. The one out west I don't think is open yet. No. But the one out east is open and thriving in terms of business. But here's the funny part about all this. Friday, the protesters will be at Chick-fil-A to protest their views on same-sex marriages.
Yeah, so today it's people opposing same-sex, and on Friday it's the people who are for same-sex.
Yeah, and ultimately, I mean, how this plays into the whole 2012 awakening, I would say that it's evidence that, and it's to be expected in a red state like Kansas. There's just a lot of bigotry that's built into our culture here. We're spoon-fed it from, a very early age by people that we don't question. So we grow up conditioned as bigots, and so, It's no surprise that Wichita, Kansas has that sort of thing going on. I would say that it's evidence that we're still in the process of awakening to the fact that we're all the same thing and that we're all brothers and sisters, regardless, and that we should just let each other have our freedom. But anyway, I also think the whole Chick-fil-A thing is a manufactured debate that has been pushed to keep us distracted from stuff that's actually going on in the bigger scene. I want to talk about some of that tonight.
Well, yeah, the whole point I brought it up is how ridiculous it is, to be honest. You know what I mean? Because, like you were saying earlier, ultimately, for me, the thing I want to know from corporate Chick-fil-A is how are you making that fucking chicken sandwich better?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I give a fuck about.
How good is your chicken sandwich? That's all it should be about when you go to the drive-thru. You're thinking about anything else.
Hey, I think we got Matt, but Matt, sounds like you're on speakerphone and we're getting a lot of noise, buddy.
Oh, sorry, man. I didn't mean to get connected. I'm just tuning in right now. I'll be back here in a little bit. I've got to go run an errand, so I'll be right back.
All right, man. Talk to you when you get back. Peace.
Later.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right in that. I mean, you see that it is just kind of a manufactured, unimportant issue in regards to, you know, the energy problems on the planet and people not, you know, people dying of starvation and thirst every day, and, you know, the wars and etc., the whole Illuminati agenda. And so what are we fighting? We're fighting with each other about whether or not we're going to give people the freedom to, you know, be in recognized relationships with other people because we feel it would threaten our own relationship for some strange reason. I don't get it. Anyway.
Right. And all these people, you're right, in the grand scheme of things, all these people are paying attention to it. And they're going out of their way. They're taking time out of their way to wait 30 minutes to 3 hours to get a chicken sandwich to voice something that really doesn't fucking matter. It really doesn't fucking matter.
And that's
There's
why
much larger issues to go on, and it's just how stupid people are. And this is happening all over the country.
And that's why we shall not give them the courtesy on this talk show, and we shall end the conversation of Chick-fil-A and not spread the virus, that is.
Hey, you know what? I'm okay with that. But I don't want Ali. I don't want you to think that's, you know, anything you guys want to talk about, let's bring it, because really,
I
want to know where you guys stand on all this stuff, because I live, breathe, eat, and sleep it, you know. And I just need to kind of get a gauge. That's why I love having these talks with you guys, because I need a gauge at what, you know, everyday people who are, I know how busy you guys are, and you're just going about your lives like the rest of us, and it's hard to even stop to think.
This whole thing, I mean, it's like, it's none of our fucking business. I mean, it's the people who are like against the whole marriage, gay marriage. You know, they're all the Christian and, you know, just straight white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, all, you know, straight out of the Bible, even though the Bible teaches you to love thy neighbor, you know, no matter what, and yet they're going against their own, you know, word.
Well, I think there's a strong case to be made for the, you know, modern-day evangelical message not lining up with the historical Jesus' message. And so they can think about themselves Christian all day long, but, you know, if you really read about the historical Jesus and the Essenes and the group that he was a part of and the things that they believed and practiced, then you know that modern-day Christianity and the tenets that we believe are Christian are actually far from it. They're anti-Christian.
Right.
And things like hate are pretty much antithetical to the whole thing. Oh, we don't hate the sinner, we hate the sin. You hate everybody. But I guess I shouldn't judge, and I'm making assumptions, and I'm generalizing, and everybody's an individual, and everybody has their own path. Blah. Enough of that. I'm going to move on to UFOs, guys, because it's really that's a whole lot more important than people trying to argue about whether or not gay people are.
On the topic of the UFO over the Olympics, as Catherine and I were researching, trying to find it, I mean, I found one post of some kid who was recording the TV show as it was playing. Aside from that, we can't find it, like, on demand. We can't find it on the Olympic channel.
No, Tim, it's crazy, because you go to watch the fireworks ceremony on demand, and
it's cut out.
It'll automatically pause itself and then just take you back to the main menu.
Really?
Yes.
They won't let you watch it at all, huh?
No, like I sat there and I watched it. It still had like 45 seconds left of footage, but the on-demand paused itself and then took it back to the main menu. Because David said there, he's like, "Why'd you pause it, Catherine?" I'm like, I was not the one who did that.
I can hear him saying that.
Right?
It's like, it's just getting to the good part. What are you doing?
They're trying to mess with people's relationships, too. They're getting down to the deep and dirty. We almost had an argument over this.
Well, I'm glad
you play pause.
So have you seen... So basically, in case anybody out there listening doesn't know what the heck we're talking about, and I guarantee everybody does, last week I was publicly hoping that there's going to be some UFO event during the opening ceremonies for the Olympics. And then the next day I woke up and found that video. And I don't know what you guys see when you look at that, because I've looked at not just the one where it's been filmed off of the TV, where the camera's shooting the television playback, but I've actually seen uploaded stuff that's fully digital, upload from the broadcaster. And clear footage, I'm telling you, I've looked at it, and I understand the people who say that it's a blimp. I understand why they think it might be a blimp, but I'm telling you, the first time I saw it, I clearly saw a flying saucer. And every time I've looked at it, I see a flying saucer. And in fact, what I see in that footage is almost identical to a flying saucer video from the UK from February this year that we talked about. And that if you go back and look at it, I've got to post it on the Facebook page. Go look for the Flying Saucer UK 2012 February, and you'll see the only difference is that there are lights at the top and the bottom flashing, and it's like sitting up there hovering for minutes.
It looked like a very, very traditional UFO. I mean, if you think about the movie Paul, how they were talking about how they taught us about aliens so we'd be comfortable with them coming. That whole concept, I mean, people would automatically disprove it if they see one of those corny, 50s, movie in the 50s with that cheesy UFO disc with, like, the oval hood, I mean,
which was based on what? The real thing.
Right. So, but we'd automatically dismiss it as, cheesy, because now we got all these, like, just completely outrageous concepts of what we would think aliens are. I mean, look at those fucking new animals and fish that they find like deep down in the ocean that they find them on video. Those things are fucking crazy. If I was to think of what an alien looks like, it would be those fish down there. I mean, they're insane. And I mean, we still haven't seen a small niche of any of them. So what can these, aliens or their crafts that these intelligent forms still look like? I mean, it could be something very simple that works very well.
How do you know you haven't seen any?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe I've chosen not to.
Well, maybe they don't look so different from you.
Oh, okay. I see where you're going with that. Maybe. I mean, again, I don't know.
Well, getting back to the UFO, the way this whole thing played out is, it kind of blew up for a day or two, and then Monday the news cycle kicks back around, and even Huffington Post was calling it a UFO. And you think that, okay, I'm sorry, it's the Huffington Post. They're an international magazine, online magazine. That's journalism. Surely they checked sources and made sure that it wasn't some blimp. And then the next day, like, all of a sudden, everybody was saying, no, it's a blimp. Here, Goodyear showed us the blimp that it is. The blimp that they have is, like, dark blue and gold. It doesn't even look like this thing. No, it's not the same thing. I'm not buying it. I don't see it. You don't have to agree with me. And you know what? If you disagree with me, get with me on the sound off, because I don't live in a bubble here. Tell me what you think. So what you guys?
Goodyear really big across it?
No. Here's the story, Catherine. Is they say that it was being used to shoot NBC footage of the events, and that
the direct line of the fireworks
off. Exactly. Exactly.
Why would Goodyear allow for their blimp to be flown over the Olympics and have their logo taken
and get
off?
shot down?
Furthermore, nobody has seen any footage from that vantage point. Show me the footage that thing was shooting while those fireworks were going off.
No, there's no way they.
Don't tell me you weren't rolling.
There's no way they could fly a blimp over the Olympic Stadium with fireworks going off. The hazards. It's like there's no way they developed a path to where they knew where the fireworks were going to go off, so we could just follow this course and we won't get hit. No, that's bullshit. That shit would have gotten taken out.
Well, I guess they're made with hydrogen now instead of helium.
Yeah, so it won't explode. It won't explode, but it'd still get taken out. But fireworks, I mean,
it still seems sketchy to me, and those were some serious fireworks. And the funny thing is that while that was going on, well, I guess later in the day, while it was being played back in the United States, I was actually watching that on a big screen back on a patio, sitting with your dad.
Really?
Yep. And I didn't see it. I was watching the fireworks going, wow, and trying to talk to them, and then later on found out, while this stuff was going on, I was sitting there watching. It could have been, if I were paying attention, I probably would have seen it and flipped my lid, but I did not, and since I was in public, it might be for the best. Things happen for a reason. Okay, but here's the deal. Why this is important, guys, is there's a whole new rumor that's rumbling loud on the kind of 2012 underground about an August 4th deadline, like a hard date for what we call disclosure with a D, which is the galactics, the off-worlders, the extraterrestrials, the aliens, the interdimensionals, whatever you want to call them, have issued an August 4th deadline, basically publicly, to the elite of the planet to say, look, come off. This is your chance, or maybe not even to the elite, to the government, to people who would turn their backs on the elite and make the step forward and say, yes, this is all real, this is what's going on. And there have been 2 crop circles that have pointed to that date, one with a polar clock. I don't know if we talked about that with you guys, but there was an actual polar clock. I don't know if you know what one of those are, but it apparently pointed to this date. There was another one more recently that apparently pointed to an August 4th date. So basically, the intergalactics are saying, you guys have until August 4th and to come clean and start disclosure. And if you don't, after August 4th, maybe not immediately, but as of that date, the divine deadline has passed. Heaven has said, we are moving forward with or without you, and we will take matters into our own hands. So that's huge, because not just the multiple crop circles, but at the same time that whole UFO thing was going on, Steve Becko from the 2012 Scenario and Jeff West were live on Inlight Radio talking to Sierra Neblina, revealing an August 4th deadline where she was talking about it. Salusa, the Syrian channel that I put a lot of stock in, and that may change if this doesn't come to fruition, but Salusa confirms August 4 in that there is a plan agreed to for disclosure. And the guy who channels him, who usually doesn't ever say much, it's rare for him to make a comment, made a comment on it. So it's kind of interesting. There are multiple sources indicating intergalactic meeting, some big meeting that, where it was basically all these decisions were made and now they're being put forth. Even David Wilcock, who you guys know I talk about all the time, said something about powerful things going on and claimed that there have been 2 false flags thwarted by divine intervention. So, I mean, if you put this, say it is a UFO at the Olympics, where they're basically saying, look, you can no longer ignore us or ignore this reality because you have collected as a planet. You're all in one place, symbolic. It's all symbolism. The world is gathered in one place, and all they need to do is bring in one flying saucer. They don't need to bring in a whole bunch and scare everybody, or they don't need to cover the planet and show up all at once and say, hi, we're here. They can wait till the world gathers in one spot and just send one ship. Brilliant, right?
It is.
Because how are you going to convince the world we're not here to attack you? You don't send an armada. You wait until the world gets together, and you use that auspicious moment to make a statement. Say, hi, and then you have this August 4th deadline, which passes before the Olympics are over. And if the leaders of the world don't get off their ass and come clean in the next few days, then it's quite possible that the extraterrestrials will make a move very publicly, very visibly to the whole world and force this issue and have their greetings during the Olympics and introduce themselves to the world during the Olympics. This is happening right now.
Well, I'm just glad it's not like a movie trailer and I got to wait 6 months before it comes out. That's cool. We'll find out in a couple of days, right?
I hope so.
We'll find out one way or another. I mean, whether it happens or not, we'll find out that scenario.
You guys know that I've had a couple sightings since the last time we talked?
I saw it on the page. You didn't bring it up to me.
Yeah, I've had two sightings. They've been both during the day.
Yeah.
Basically, the first time I just walked outside, and there was this dark sphere just floating in front of these clouds, and it was changing speed and direction. And every once in a while, it would flash. It would when the James Gill and East Eddy Ranch, they film these ships, and they just what they call power up. They just flash. Well, that's kind of what this thing did. Just kind of, it didn't slowly power up. It just kind of would flash intermittently, and then it just disappeared, just gone. And then a week later, I was at the pool, middle of the afternoon, laying on my back, and had the sun beating down on me. I was loving it, and opened my eyes just to see this light flying through the sky. And I looked at it and I was like, "What? Holy cow! Is that?" And then it flared up big, it flared up. But this is the middle of the day, nobody's looking up, and it's directly on top of us. And then it just disappeared into nothing. So either I'm hallucinating and should be locked up, or I'm seeing extraterrestrial craft, on a fairly regular basis, and all I'm doing is looking up. So they're here, and I think things are going to change pretty quick.
Even Tupac was warning us to keep your head up.
I don't think that's what he meant.
Well, agree to disagree.
And I don't think he did a very good job of it either.
Hey, man, we're not going to get into that topic tonight.
Oh, okay.
Touchy subject for me, man. Deep roots.
Oh, I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry.
It's cool.
Okay, so let's keep on the UFO sightings tip then. We've got some other sightings to talk about. Monday, a former military pilot who's now a commercial pilot says he had a flying saucer follow him into KCI, Kansas City International, for 22 minutes this past Monday, and that this thing was like zooming around him, doing moving way faster than anything ought to be able to. He describes it as a disc.
Who did he speak with? Who did he disclose this information to?
I'm guessing KSHB was the Kansas City channel that actually did a report on it, and you can go watch the report from KSHB.
So could they not get a hold of the conversation?
I think they got it off of MUFON. No, they couldn't, because he submitted the report anonymously to MUFON, I believe.
Okay.
Because here's the deal: is it's not uncommon for any time that a pilot does report something like that, guess what happens to him?
He's not a pilot anymore.
Exactly. They get fired.
Oh, there's so many astronauts. There's so many retired astronauts.
Let me ask you a question. Nobody else on that plane saw it?
No, apparently it was zoomed right below him. I haven't heard any other reports of that, no. Are you guys calling me on the credibility of this story? KSHB reported it. Come on.
Hey, we got to play devil's advocate. That's what we're here for, Tim.
That's what you're here for.
I'm just calling for everything there is to know about.
Right. Yeah, we like to evaluate the situation,
Nope.
Checking out it. There's so many astronauts, retired astronauts, that have come forward and disclosed, information. I've seen some crazy sightings in space, from space cams online.
There's always some interesting stuff from the ISS. If you watch the ISS feeds, all kinds of crazy stuff recently. And that's kind of the point I'm going for, guys. Is I don't want. Obviously, we know that UFOs are here. We know that they exist. The point I'm trying to make is that they're ramping up. That they're really pushing for awareness. They're in our skies. Nobody may have got video of this thing happening with the plane going into Kansas City, but Kansas City has had like a world record number of sightings in the past 2 years, and those are on film. My buddy that I used to work with, Alan Shope, was one of the reporters who covered it, and that was last fall. And Lee Summit and the Kansas City area in general are hotbeds of UFO light activity, where they've got blue lights or orange lights zipping around or hovering or going off in armadas, and it's really happening. There's another amazing sighting in Malaysia that we actually have video of. It's pretty fantastic. Go check it out on the Facebook page. The Space Agency of Malaysia is publicly taking it seriously. They're saying it's no laughing matter. That's quote, no laughing matter. They're taking it seriously. It really happened, and it's right there on video, and that was just a few days ago.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah.
Tim. Whenever you feel that done with the UFO topic, we had an interesting subject matter come up to one of Catherine's friends about FEMA camps.
No.
Do you know anything about this?
Yes. I know that they have several camps set up, and they've put out ads apparently looking for people to staff them, and it really appears that the elite had a plan to somehow create martial law in rioting and stuff, and then put us all away, or put a lot of people away. Anybody who questioned them would get put away in these camps. They would get interred. But it's not going off. That's not going to happen in this country. People aren't going to stand for it. Yes.
I can't remember the source, so I can't validate or credit it entirely, but I was told that when applying for these positions to work the camps, the applications or something end after 2012. Like, they stopped taking applications, apparently, for these camps.
Well, I mean, it's a real thing. You've stumbled across something that's got verifiable information. I mean, people have got video of these camps, and there's all sorts of a paper trail that leads to that leads one to be able to make some safe assumptions about why so many of these camps are all over the place, and why so much money was spent on them unbeknownst to the general public. There's clearly a lot that we don't know, that we haven't been told. And that's what we need to push for in our world, is transparency in all dealings, in all things. We need our financial institutions to be transparent. We need our Federal Reserve System to be transparent. We need all our government to be transparent. And there needs to be an end of secrecy, because there's not going to be peace without trust, and nobody's going to trust with secrets. Secrets don't make friends. So that's what our whole planet, in my opinion, and I'd say that it makes some sense, that if we all, and that's what we're going to have to do, we're all going to have to choose peace. We're all going to have to choose openness. That means being vulnerable, and it means not taking advantage of other people, because you don't want them to do that to you.
You're a good person to know.
Can I ask you something, Tim?
Bring it.
What do you think is going to happen on the 4th?
Well, I'm going to tell you, Ali, I'm hoping for Barack Obama to come before the world and say, look, he's a great speaker, and a lot of people still think that he's sent by the light, and that his soul is sent here for this mission, this very mission, because what we're talking about is the most important day in human history, happening in your lifetime, happening this week. And so that's what I'm hoping for. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. I highly suspect that based on the trend of the elite dragging their feet on this thing and not wanting to give up one iota of anything at any point, that they're going to drag it out until they are forced to step down. And so I think that August 4th will come and August 4th will go. And I think that not long after that, there will be some sort of spectacular world-changing event.
Yeah, Canada will win. Canada will win all the rest of the Olympic gold medals.
And that would be spectacular. I don't think it'll be world-changing.
It's changed my world, Tim.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to move on to, because, talking about the world changing, and that being kind of the whole point of 2012, have you guys checked out this iPet Goat 2 thing?
Yes, and I must say, that has got to be the most interesting thing I've ever seen in my life, and I want to meet the person who created it, because whoever thought of that has...
Well, guess what? You probably can, because he lives in Montreal.
No way.
No way, dude.
Well, I might go visit. I'll get his autograph for you.
There you go. Hey, I'd love that. He did a long interview with Alex Jones from InfoWars, and really, you got to get a good breakdown of what he was thinking.
I think I got it the first time I watched it, and there was a lot.
Well, there is a lot, and each time I watch it, and I know I've watched it a handful of times, each time I watch it, I seem to pick up on something else. It is so deplete with symbolism, and it's a beautiful thing. And what you said about it was the most interesting thing you ever saw. As soon as I finished watching it all the way through, I said, that is the most beautiful piece of art I have ever seen in my whole life.
It's incredible. I'm about to show Matt and Ali so they can see what's going on with this. Or Ali, at least Matt's seen it.
And for people who don't know what we're talking about, go check out, get on YouTube or Google and search for iPet Goat 2 and watch the full. It's like 7-8 minutes long, and it's almost completely visual. It's full of symbolism. The language that it speaks to you is a language of symbols, and so it's not necessarily an intellectual message. It's not an intellectual communication. It's a spiritual and symbolic communication. And so I'm not going to tell you what I took from it, because I think it's going to be different for other people, but I will tell you it's a story, and the story starts on 9/11, and it ends, I believe, with the awakening and ascension of humankind. So please go watch it for yourself, and in a couple minutes when we get to sound off, if you've seen that, if you have something to say about it, let us know. Sound off about the iPet Goat meme, because it's freaking... I want everybody in the world to see this thing.
I'm going to scoot over here. I'm still listening, but I'm watching it again.
All right, well, for any... you know what, I've got a caller, 213... Area code 213. We're going to pull you in here. Who do we have here?
Hey, Pete.
Pete, what's up, brother?
Hey, man. Hermes.
Hermes?
Hermes is the goat. It's communication.
Oh, the goat.
Communication has been boxed in by us, but it's about to be released. It's about to be freed. I mean, look at how we're communicating these days.
Yeah.
Hermes is the goat holder in the constellation, and he's a communicator. He writes the scrolls.
Now, is he the analog to the other belief systems, Mercury? Is it the same?
Yep.
Okay.
Mercury is the same.
Nike?
I'm not sure about Nike, but Pleiades is around that area too. Pleiades has been playing a big part in everything that's been happening lately also. Especially if you remember the eclipse that happened.
You're talking about
the buffalo with the horns, and that eclipse, man, was in the skull of the white buffalo.
I do not know what you're talking about, I'm afraid.
But anyway, the goat is Hermes.
Cool. Well, that's a cool analysis that I actually hadn't heard. Right off the top, communication.
Yeah, and another thing is Obama. It was just released this week that he is the descendant of the first slave. What does that tell you, man?
How would anybody know the first slave?
Well, I guess he was some guy in shackles, man, that had to escape. And now we're talking about all these UFOs and everything. What are they going to plant in our soil? The Declaration of Discovery? I mean, come on. And
what are they
that Declaration of Discovery under the Vatican, we still live under that. And that's got to go.
Well, there are a lot of things that are part of the secret status quo that we live under that we don't even know about that are just going to have to be ignored.
That's not a secret.
But nobody, I can tell you that I, as a member of the general public, have no idea what you're talking about, Pete. I'm sorry. The what of discovery?
It's called. I think it's called the Declaration of Discovery.
Okay. I'm going to check that out. I don't mean to discount you. I seriously don't. I'm just saying that I feel representative of the population in that that's something I haven't heard of, and I try to stay well read. So
maybe everything that's happening needs to bring us to that consciousness, because how can you put any other man under a Declaration of Discovery? You can't.
Well, you're right. The entire way we operate in relationship to one another has fundamentally just have to be completely rewritten. It's going to be hard because people like you and I have been living life and we're conditioned to look at the world a certain way, but it's got to change, and this is the time to do it.
You know what? I broke away. I broke away. I had to see life in America, man, from the outside in a way. I had to totally change about 6 years ago, and I had to look at life totally different. And once I started doing that, I started to see what we are missing is our being a common human being and not being so chastised for it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Were there any other elements of the I Pet Goat meme that you pulled out that seemed particularly interesting to you?
There's something that I've noticed. That claw.
Which claw?
That claw. There's like a claw. They talk about the claw. Kind of reminds me of if you look at the full moon, like tonight. There's a little claw on the moon. Tonight, where I'm standing here, I'm standing out in the middle of a desert in Arizona. But that rainbow, there's a rainbow around the full moon here. But there's a claw on the moon. And if you look at Soho's picture last Sunday, it just turned Sunday. Look at Soho's picture on, what would that be then, the 29th?
Yeah. There was a coronal hole that was Earth-facing at that point. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no. I'm not sure about the coronal hole that's Earth-facing, but there is a figure, man, of a dancer on top of the sun. Take a look at it, and he's blowing a pipe.
On top of the sun? I'll have to go through them all because there are quite a few. Soho's got a number of different instruments, and they take photos at different lengths. Some of them take quite a few in a day. Do you remember, was it C1, C2, or was it one of the ones where you see the whole corona?
Well, shit, do you have excuse my language, do you have a email on your site here? I'm outside right now.
You can email me at yahoo.com.
Okay. All right, man. And it's on there. I'll send it out to you and take a look at it. But there's a lot going on, I mean, we really have to start looking at it. But the biggest thing about religion or about this UFO stuff, it's not that we're worried about if we're going to get killed by laser beams. I don't think we're really worrying about that.
I'm not.
Right. I think what we're very concerned about is how are the religions.
Well, I'm going to have to confess I'm not as worried about them either.
Yeah, and what do we do go into our belief system? Are there some con dudes up there too, man, that are about to give us a new book? You know what I mean? So that's a legitimate fear. I mean, I see what you're saying. But people are afraid of that.
They practice what they preach, and we'll be able to have the discernment to see that they're not trying to lord us or trick us into some sort of continued service to self mentality where, we are less than they are and, in some way serving them.
Yeah.
Or anyone else for that matter.
Yeah. I mean, we're just human beings, man, and without even saying that there's a God or whatever, we're just people, man. We're just here. you know, and we're white, we're black, we're red, we're yellow, you know. Who knows? I have nieces that are all different colors, you know what I mean?
Mitakule or Yasin?
That's it, man. It's like whatever. If they change colors, they change colors. You know, I mean, they still have a red heart, and they're still, you know, pumping away. And we have to teach them good. It's all about the next generation, and what can we teach them from our own self-experience rather than institution.
Pete, thanks for your call, buddy.
Hey, man, no problem. And I'll send that sun out to you.
Do that. I want to see it.
All right, man.
Cool. Peace.
Hey, could I hang on the line? Because I'm standing outside and I'd like to listen to the rest of the show.
Absolutely. You know what? I'm just going to put you on mute, dude, and when we get the sound off here in a second, I'm gonna pull you open and see if anybody else out there wants to talk to.
All right.
Okay. So, Matt, David, you guys had a chance to watch iPad Goat, eh?
Yeah, definitely. Ali just finished it as well.
So, what'd you think?
You were right. I mean, I noticed something different. The little parts of it.
Ali, Catherine, what'd you guys think of what you just saw?
The person who made it is very creative. That's
yeah. Did you hear that?
Yep.
The person who made that is very creative in their thought and their skill on a computer, because it was very well done. That was the best part about it.
It took one guy. Well, he had help, but it took him like 5 to 7 years to put that together. Something like that. It was 3 to 5 or 5 to 7. Some inordinate amount of time, like a really long time.
Wow.
And he, you know, that's a labor of love, and he's, you know, had something to say, and, you know, really watch the journey. It's amazing.
Like, you think he made like a flip book before he did this?
I kind of doubt it, but you know, who knows? Maybe he foresaw the awakening, because to me, that's what it's about.
I'll find out when I go to Quebec.
Let me ask you something. Besides the fact that we all think this guy could work for Pixar, what did you like best about it?
I liked the moment of awakening best. I liked the Christ figure, to me, representing humanity, representing us on this planet, you know, in this journey that we've taken since, you know, through up to 9/11 and since, and where we're going. And, you know, he's asleep, his eyes are closed, he's in a trance, but at the same time, you know, his third eye is awakening, and his heart chakra is really going, but then the flame really starts to rise within him, and he really starts to burn, and then he escapes from the dark, close surroundings that he's in into this wide open new area. And as he does that, you know, he's facing the sun. As he does, he opens his eyes, he becomes awake, and the thorn of crowns disappears. The symbolism is just, I mean...
His eyes are seeing fire the whole time.
I'm not an evangelical Christian. I grew up as a Lutheran, and, you know, broke with that as I reached adulthood. But I still relate to the Christ figure and the Christ energy, and feel that Jesus came to say, look what I can do, you can do this too, because you're the same as me, and I'm just here to let you know. It had nothing to do with believe in what I'm showing you or you're going to burn in hell, because that's just not what it was about. It was about, hey, this is your heritage. This is I am you, you are me, and we are one, and that which I can do, you can do and will do to, you know, even better.
What did you make of his legs being on fire?
That was, to me, I'm sure there's probably a more sophisticated analysis of that, and maybe more accurate, because I don't know what the guy meant by that. But to me, it just seemed like, you know, vibration, personal vibration, spiritual fire. And, because it kind of grew.
I felt it was just like what you were saying. I mean, the fire... The whole time throughout, the fire was our sins, you know, holding him, you know, him enduring our sins, our pain, and then. See,
I would never have put that there. That's why I wanted to get your honest take on that, because I think it's going to be different for other people.
Right.
So you saw it as the sin and him. So see, I didn't see that as actually Jesus. And I think that if you go watch the Alex Jones interview, you'll find out he didn't mean for that to be the historical Jesus or to be Jesus Christ. He meant that to be a symbol of a way of operating spiritually, or, you know, a heritage.
Right.
It was a symbol.
The idea of Jesus, or coming to enlightenment and letting go of all of your pain and all of that bad energy.
And there was the most interesting part was, for me, was when he does awaken, and the fire on his legs and the fire in his eyes, and then the sun starting to shoot fireballs at the earth. But right behind him, if you watch, there was what the best word to describe it is a kingdom that was breaking down. Did you see that in the background where he came out of?
Yeah, as he did. The third, that I see that, to me, I see that as the third dimensional falling away, because he breaks into a bigger, broader dimension of existence, and the old crumbles away and falls away. That's what I saw.
Tim, the book of Revelation says that when the second coming does happen, eventually God will destroy the earth with a ball of fire.
That's what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking. I kind of interpreted it, what Catherine just said. It seemed like almost like the thing that was breaking down was a kingdom, or almost like a church, and it seemed like it was more he was enraged or upset with how things were going, because originally the first part of the video, I can imagine the person, the puppeteer, from his hands, I'm guessing that's the devil, and at the end there, everything that happened, it seemed like that was what was going to happen. It was going to end the world right there.
It did seem very apocalyptic in nature.
Matt, there he is.
Hi.
What's up, buddy?
Not a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna jump in because I saw it. You all pretty much said it. It was definitely a visual trip, and there was a lot of symbolism thrown at you, and it wasn't necessarily chronological in nature, but it did seem to have a flow. You notice all the part where all this dark negative energy just seems to. That's the whole symbolism behind it. It was this dark negative energy, but it came to fruition in an apocalyptic scene where suddenly, this figure of Christ was sitting there, like you said, just, out of the dark despair and into the light. Meanwhile, that dimension, that reality that we know is crashing down and burning and falling apart, while, it seemed that not only Christ, but everybody was having this revelation.
Well, I think to me, the figure of Christ in the boat, the boat in the Anubis head, the river Styx, the allegory. There's all kinds of stuff, all kinds of symbolism. But to me,
the Egyptian symbols and the symbols from the Native American culture, like what?
Well, see.
Oh, and there was Kali too, or Krishna. I can't remember which one it was, but there was a Hindu god as well, dancing around the fire, and then you had they had kind of like the First Nations theme of shamanism and animism, and that sort of raw spirituality.
It seemed to portray not only Christianity but other religions. I saw what appeared to be a figure of a Muslim, an Islamic symbolism there.
Are you talking about the guy who kind of got buried in the goop that had the hammer and the sickle? Yeah, to me that represented the fall of, it was like, it's either the common man, the laborer, it was about a labor thing, or it was about the fall of communism. Because, the whole hammer and sickle, that's a socialism thing, that's a communism thing.
What about the Statue of Liberty standing on the Star of David as it comes down?
Yeah, exactly. Good point. Basically, to me, I say that person is looking, look, and you've got this bastion of liberty that's actually controlled by the state of Israel, or controlled by, the people at the top pulling the strings are, for the most part, I'm just not into Jew bashing because I'm not an anti-Semite. I don't care for Israel, the state. But I will not single out any culture and call it good, bad, or ugly, because there's good, bad, and ugly stuff to all our cultures. But the truth of the matter is that there are a lot of Jews in high power in the United States, and I think that that's what it was trying to say, was that there's this thing underlying, at the base of the Statue of Liberty, the symbol of America. At the base of America is this bing, Star of David. take it decide for yourself.
Statue of Liberty actually is built upon Star of David.
That's what he said.
Yeah, I thought it was very clever to point it out the way that it was done.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, it's actually, under the Statue of Liberty is actually a Star of David. So.
But at the same time, Star of David, it's got other connotations to other groups. You can't just say, okay, that's a Jewish thing or a Judaic thing. It could be a Masonic thing for all I know.
Well, for future talk show purposes, I want to state it clearly that I found out recently I do have a little bit of Jewish in me. So I'd appreciate no Jew comment.
I wish I had a little of everybody, and I'm really. You guys know that I'm of the opinion that we're all part of one thing, and separation is a lie. And so, to point out differences is pretty much just ridiculous because it's all it's an illusion. And at the end of the day, we're all part of one thing. Okay, so I want to get into sound off, and so all you guys that are listening out there, I see that you're out there. Call us in real quick because we're going to do sound off. I still got Pete on the line, so we're going to up to 3 people. The first people who want to call in, we're going to pull in everybody together, and we're going to talk about one thing, and everybody gets to say what they want. So let's sound off. What should we talk about? What do you guys think? What should we talk about? Should we talk about the UFO at the Olympics? Should we talk about I Pet Goat some more? Should we talk about LIBOR and the whole fact that there's this collapsing global financial economy and nobody's talking about it in America? What should we talk about? What do you guys want to talk about?
Actually, if you don't mind, I'd like to jump back. I caught the first bit of it when I called in earlier, but I was having technical difficulties. Anyway, it was the...
Matt, I'm gonna let you do that. I just want to let you know I'm bringing Pete back on the line, and we're going to sound off. So.
All right.
Say what you got to say, Matt.
I just want to give a shout-out because I feel there was confusion. There's been confusion about this whole Chick-fil-A and same-sex marriage thing. So I got this up on my Facebook right now. Everybody should go check out. It kind of clears things up. It is a good post.
Okay, I'm going.
Oh, you can read it out loud like an author reading his own book. Yeah, I suppose.
Don't look at it without telling me what it says.
Oh, man. That's a lot.
Yeah, it reads quick. It does read quick.
What does it say, Tim?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a few minutes left in the show. I'm going to give you the Reader's Digest. We're going to go to the First Amendment guarantees you freedom of religion. However, it strictly prohibits Congress from passing any law respecting any religion. Therefore, arguments against same-sex marriage, citing the sanctity of marriage, are violations of the First Amendment and have no place in the national discussion. Boom! Seriously, you've got a lot of stuff there, but I think it would take me the rest of the show to read it, dude.
That's fine. That's fine. Just telling you it's there. Check it out.
Okay, Pete. The topic is Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, you know what? I've seen the lines out there. I'm sure that, people were told by their political party to get their ass out there to show support for, it's all politics on that
status
end.
Quo.
Tomorrow, if they say, if there's a counter to the lines that were there today, you'll see them going around the block. I'm sorry, but you'll see people have so many people have gay relatives, man. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
whatever. I
did have a discussion with a coworker about this today, and it basically went like this. It was a bad business decision because whether or not you support gay people, that's an ideals thing. It has nothing to do with business. And you can have that ideal without broadcasting it and connecting it to your business. But once that's done, you're basically saying, yeah, my business is, against this, and you're alienating 1 in 10 people who are gay at the very least. And then you've got their relatives, their loved ones, and everybody else who thinks you're going to discriminate against gays. I'm going to discriminate against you.
And you make a lot of money doing it. There's a lot of people standing around the corner supporting them on both sides. So how do you lose?
Well, who wins is the people who have got us divided. And at the end of the day, the fact that we're talking about this at the end of the show is the proof that they're still winning because we're still talking about what they want us to talk about.
I'm wrong. I was wrong. Those lines, I don't know. What do you think? How are the lines going to look tomorrow?
It's not till Friday here, I think, that the other side will come out. I don't think it'll be anywhere near.
Yeah. Oh, well, because the cameras are going to be shooting, and, you know, what, are there going to still be a lot of supporters there, or what? I don't know. Anyway, like you said, man, it's taken us off. It's a diversion. You know, it's a diversion on things that we should be talking about. And then, like the justice said, I do agree with the Supreme Court on that. It should, you know, it's out of the national discussion. They're not going to discuss it. So, hey, man, you know, it's been said, and let's move forward.
Agreed. Guys, we're out of time. So,
all right, man.
Pete, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for talking with us.
Hey, I enjoyed it.
We got to go because we're out of time. Guys, thanks for hanging out and talking with me and kind of giving me your perspective on this stuff. We're going to do this more often, and we're going to schedule these regularly because I think these discussions are important and valuable to everybody understanding where everybody stands. So thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks.
We're going to go. You can reach us at facebook.com/extraordinary year. Like us, spread the word, and that's it for us on this 141st day before December 21st, 2012. Keep your ear to the ground and hold on tight, kids. Remember,
do not be afraid.
This is going to be an extraordinary year. Peace is on its way. Namaste.